Oh! Oh! Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Miranda Detailing. In today's episode, we have this Subaru Crosstrek in for our diamond service. That's our full interior and exterior service. So we're going to bring you through the process and show you a couple of updates along the way. Guys, if you're enjoying videos like this, consider subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't miss stuff. So we begin with our pre-wash. Now with this, you see that we foamed on with the IK foamer. This is AM snow foam. So this is a higher alkaline cleaner, but it is wax and sealant safe. This is designed as a pre-wash. You can put it in a foam cannon, but I prefer to use the IK foamer. It actually uses less water, and I dilute it less so I can use more of it. I think it wastes it a little bit. If I put it in the foam cannon, it uses a little bit too much. That's just what I've found. But it is a great pre-wash, so that's what we're using on this initial detail. You can use it on ceramic coatings and also as a maintenance type of pre-wash, but you don't have to use it all the time. Now this is optional. You can rinse first if you want, or you can put the snow foam right on top of it, or the APC rinse right on top of the dirty paint without rinsing it. I don't always recommend this for my mobile detailers because you're in the hot sun and you need to work fast, because spraying it on there, any little light overspray that might get onto dry portions might potentially stain the paint. That's why I recommend rinsing first. Yes, it's going to dilute it a little bit, but I have found that it doesn't really mess with its cleaning power because I dilute the APC 1 to 4. The snow foam, I dilute 1 to 15, 1 to 20-ish, because I put 2 gallons in there of water and then dilute it appropriately. But that stuff is stronger, it's more concentrated. So, and it's designed for this purpose as well. That's why I like to pre-rinse first. There's no argument to be made, it's personal choice, but I also see the benefits of it because you don't want any dry chemical getting onto, or excuse me, you don't want any chemical getting onto dry paint. So even if a little bit of chemical goes onto paint that's a little bit wet, it's not going to damage anything. So that's why I pre-rinse before I pre-wash. I know, all these steps are the most important thing before contact washing. So go check out this video up in the card. It explains our APC rinsing. I'm going to make another video explaining a little bit more because I think some people are still a tad confused. Oh man, I love this rubber tip on this thing. It's awesome. I can actually dilute that even more. It's a little bit too thick. I actually do want it to be a tad bit runny on here. Now, dwell time depends on a lot of things. The weather, the heat, the sun, all of that stuff. This does typically like to dwell up to 5 minutes, and I know for mobile guys, time is of the essence, so it's not quite, you know, the time that you need, but it all depends on how much it's drying. Now, I know this is a little thick. I do prefer it to be slightly runnier when you're doing the APC rinsing or the pre-washing like this. That way it actually does run over the entire paint because there are some dry patches here. So I do understand that. So mix yours a little bit thinner, but you're still going to get the cleaning power from it. It doesn't have to be thick foam. When we use the foam cannon to put the shampoo on the vehicle, at that point, the car is like 90% clean. And I know some argue about that, but it is true. It's what we see and what we experience. And many other people are actually experiencing the same when they tried this method. This is going to get the majority of the junk off the paint. That way contact washing is safer. And you don't have to use all the multiple mitts. You don't have to use the 2-bucket method. It's just what we found. You can totally do what you want to do, but it's not a rule or anything. So don't get confused with that. With the pre-washing, this is very important. You'll see when we foam and go right to contact washing, once again, the paint is 90% clean. Damaged material is not on the paint. It's just a thin film of maybe a little bit of traffic film left on the paint or whatever is still kind of adhered or stuck to the paint. But it's not going to be heavy grit material that's going to cause all this scratching. It's just not true. Oh, the mats, yes. Again, the reason I spray the mats, rinsing them first before putting the solution on, is once again, I've done it dry and it stained it a little bit. So use the water to dilute it a little bit more. It makes it safer. You're not necessarily diluting the chemical so that it's not working. It's okay, it's going to work. But then you can brush it and do all of that. But I rinse it first because, once again, if you're outside, this is in the sun. If you're inside in a shop environment, then things may change because you're not in the direct sunlight. So this is for both shop and mobile, but the same principle applies. It's not a big deal. If you don't need to pre-rinse it first, then don't if you're indoors. Just spray the chemical on, make sure it's fully saturated, don't leave any dry spots, and then just don't let it dry completely on the mats. So it's basically just principles. Just think beforehand, think it through, and you'll be able to understand it. But don't try to make rules because that's going to stunt, your thinking ability. So is it a rule to have to work from the top down to the bottom? Look, it's a nice thing to do, but it's not an absolute rule. Remember the pre-wash, that whole method? This allows us some freedom here, some flexibility. We don't have to follow all of those rules starting from the top to the bottom. You see those rules for beginner detailers, it's totally fine. And we used to do the same thing until we realized that it didn't make a difference because of our pre-wash method. So if you like to do it, totally cool, you do it. Don't call out someone else saying that they're doing it wrong, because it doesn't make a difference.
Somehow I cannot reach the top.
Somehow? Huh. This is a strange phenomenon. How come you cannot reach the top?
Vertically challenged.
Yeah, the clay really didn't pick up that much at all. So that's nice. Here, baby, let me do that.
You don't watching me.
It's just a little painful. No, not making fun of you at all, actually. I was helping you out. That's a first, whatever. You always make fun of me. Hey.
It was an accident.
Comment down below. Was it an accident or not?
Absolutely.
Are you Team Philip or Team Jessica?
Jessica.
We'll see. We'll let the commenters decide. Oh. Oh. All right, washing and deconning is now done. The paint is looking great, nice and smooth, and wheels are also cleaned. Mats are cleaned. We're gonna have those drying in the sun. Now, what you saw us use for the tires and the wheels, we use the Geon tire cleaner. It's a great cleaner, but we use the Hybrid Solutions Iron Decon. This stuff right here, the Rapid Decon wheel cleaner and iron remover, incredible stuff. It cleans really well. It does the iron removal. You can put this on the paint as well, and this now comes in gallon form. So you can buy a gallon, buy one of those bottles, and when it runs out, you just fill it up with this. Awesome, awesome stuff. You can get that stuff at Car Supplies Warehouse. Don't forget to enter code Miranda10. You'll get 10% off. With the paint and all the crevices blown dry, door jambs were all blown dry and then protected with the AM detailer. That's the festive detailer. They also have their regular detailer that you can use, or their hybrid ceramic detailer. Either one works for the door jambs. It works really great, protects them, makes them easier to clean next time. Now we're on to the trim. Wifey is using the Stoner's Trim Shine on all of the exterior plastic trim. Now you see that this goes on really wet, soaks into the plastics. We'll wipe it down later. This is a water-based formula, not the longest lasting. However, it's very easy to apply. It removes off of the paint and the glass easily. Even if it dries on there a little bit, removes with a quick detailer or a spray wax, no problem. We always do that first, and then we're going to protect the paint afterward. There's a lot of plastic on this. So you can see nice, even application. Yes, you can do the same by hand, especially with this wax. It is actually very, very easy and very smooth. Again, I just think machine applying it's a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient. But try it both ways and see which one you like best. Cool thing is, if you get it onto plastic, it doesn't make a difference. Actually, you can kind of dress the plastics. I went right over this by hand, and it makes it look amazing.
Oh, good to you.
Yeah, I did. Not bad, right? Just wipe it off after.
Yeah.
All right, let's begin in the interior. It's not horrible, but leather and carpet. Oh, and this carpet, look. Oh, it's horrible carpet. So some of you might be thinking, why am I not wearing gloves? Because that happens when I wear gloves. It's called contact dermatitis. I wore gloves a couple of months ago, and it still hasn't healed up after so many creams, all sorts of lotions. Yeah, it starts to heal, and then when it gets wet again, it starts to crack. This is because I wore gloves, and I wore them for too long, or just wearing them just for, 20, 30 minutes or so, it does this. Yeah, so when I noticed it, I took my gloves off and I stopped using my gloves. Now what I do is just wash and rinse my hands, because I can very easily. So after I'm done with the section, I'll go and wash my hands, rinse them off. But that is why. They will crack, they will bleed. I've had them on both hands over my entire hands, and they'll last months and months and months. I finally figured out it was because wearing the gloves. It's not an allergic reaction to the nitrile or anything like that. It doesn't matter. It is basically the contact. My hands sweat, they heat up, and it causes this to happen. This is why I don't wear gloves. Not everybody can wear gloves. We're almost done here. We're finishing up the interior. Now what I have in here is Kosh Chemi Leather Star, and it's their conditioner. It can clean a little bit, but we use it mostly as a conditioner. It doesn't leave any type of shininess at all. It's a completely matte finish final product. It's really nice. You apply it like your regular conditioner, and you kind of just let it soak in, and you can wipe off any residual residue, but it dries to a matte finish, and it looks really nice. And it's not your typical leather scent. They don't use that leather scent. They use almost like a floral scent to it.
Yeah, it smells sweet.
Yeah, sweet. It's kind of nice. So we just put it in that separate little spray bottle there. It's a little bit easier to apply that way. Nice. This is looking beautiful. And in just a moment, we're going to remove the residue of the wax. Windshield cowl was just wiped down. I'm going to clean the glass in just a moment. That'll be the last thing to do. Wifey's finishing up some final things on the interior. It is looking gorgeous. So let's finish off removing all the residue from the wax and maybe pull it out, get some sun shots. So the Subaru is done, and customer will come up. Nope.
Oh, don't forget little protection thingies.
Oh yeah, we have these little mats and these little steering wheel covers that we put in the vehicle. Kind of a nice final touch when the customer gets in there. Some customers like it, some customers don't. It doesn't matter. Some people take all that stuff out and hand it back to us before they leave, but maybe, you know, they just don't want any waste. They don't want anything in their vehicle like that. It just kind of shows that everything is cleaned and sanitized and ready to go. So if you have any questions, let me know down below. If you're interested in any of the products, once again, in the descriptions, in the description, the links will be there. Don't forget to use code Miranda10. You'll get 10% off at Car Supplies Warehouse. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great week.